friends. I want to talk today about the four-step process for creating anything that you want. and I want to start with how things are created and using the analogy of water going from gas to liquid to solid, which is basically, in my mind, the way that things are created in this world of form. Right? They start off in the world of the formless as possibility. And this is like water being in the form of gas. It's invisible. And in the world of formless possibility, everything exists. Every possibility already exists. The possibility of the iPhone, before it was ever a thought in Steve Jobs' head, already existed. The possibility of you already existed. The possibility of me. The possibility of every relationship you're in, the possibility of every way of being, everything that could be and infinitely more already exists in the world of possibility, the formless possibility. Quantum physics calls this the quantum field, right? This idea of just infinite possibility field. So this is kind of where it starts, right? In this gaseous state. And the first step down from there is to bring it into water. The first step of bringing a possibility into form, right? But before we do that, really what we have to do is step one, which is we have to see a possibility. So we have to take from this infinite field of possibility, and we have to pluck one thing to make real. We have to see a real possibility, right? So Steve Jobs had to see a possibility that an iPhone could exist. Or you have to see a possibility that you could be a different way than you are now. So the first step is that we see a possibility. Things could be different. Something could come into form that does not currently exist in form. So the next step of solidification and bringing into form is what I call creating a container. So think of creating a container like the ice cube tray. So if we bring it down from gas to liquid, well, we need something to hold this liquid in, right? You need the ice cube tray to hold the water until it's fully frozen and hardened into form. So this is what creating container means, right? And how do we create a container? We do what I call speaking this possibility into being. And what do I mean by this? What do I mean by speaking? I don't mean just words like I'm speaking right now. I mean thought, right? That's a form of it. The initial thoughts that we have, holding it in our thoughts and our imagination. It could be speaking it this way. It could be writing. It could be expressing. It could be communicating. Any way that we speak this is the container. And just like the ice cube tray, without that container, without keeping that container the entire time and strengthening that container, while we're working on solidifying, without that, it'll all fall apart, right? So this is something you have to do day in and day out, is create this container and speak this possibility into existence. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that, a lot of exercises. I'm not going to get into those in this video, but that's step two, is create the container, create the ice cube tray, right? For the iPhone, it was the idea of the iPhone, and then maybe Steve Jobs was writing about it and writing specs and talking to people about it and so on and so forth, right? So that was creating the container and speaking it into being. So the next phase in solidification is really where it goes from liquid to solid, which is you've got your ice cube tray, you got your ice in it, it's got the form that you want it to be, and now what does it require to solidify it? It requires giving it time and attention. What does it take to turn the ice cubes that are in your tray into solid frozen ice? It requires a certain temperature and it requires time, right? Temperature is the force that does it. And, it has to be in there for a certain amount of time. In the same way, that's what it requires to bring a possibility into the next level of form. To harden it, you have to give it time and attention, which might seem obvious, right? But many people kind of miss that, right? They're not giving something time and attention. So this is the first three, right? You see a possibility, could be a possibility for a business outcome, a business goal. It could be for a new way of being. It could be for an invention, whatever the possibility is, a new relationship. The next step is you create a container for that. You create the ice cube tray that's going to hold the form of the iPhone, whatever it may be. And the way that you do that is you speak that into being. Through your thinking about it, through your writing about it, through your talking about it. And you hold that day in and day out. You hold that vision, that imagination, right? You hold that while you're giving it time and attention, step 3. Until it can start to solidify on its own. And then you don't need that anymore to hold it. It's starting to take on its own. Right? So that's step number 3. The fourth is what I call reducing resistance, the fourth step. Resistance is basically the equivalent of, we've got the water in the ice cube trays, we've got the container, it's in the freezer, we're giving it the time and attention in the freezer, but every 30 seconds we go and open the freezer door again, right? And every time we do that, we let all the coldness out, and so they can never freeze, right? We're constantly interrupting, we're constantly in our own way. So this is what resistance is. And resistance shows up in so many forms. It's fear, it's insecurity, it's procrastination, it's overwhelm, it's busyness, it's financial insecurity, all of these different ways that resistance might show up. Avoidance, right? Really anything that we do, self-doubt, self-consciousness, so on and so forth, right? All these things we're doing, we're constantly opening up the freezer door on what we want to create, so it never actually solidifies, we never get there. The ice starts just forming on the outside, and then we open the freezer and it all melts again, right? So that's the last step, is reducing this resistance, and there's a bunch of ways to do that as well. I'll talk more about all of these steps in other videos to come, but for now I just wanted to lay this out. This is a 4-step process for creating anything you want. See a possibility, create a container for it by speaking it into being, give it time and attention, and reduce resistance.